So over the years, lots of golfers have put hybrids in the bag to replace those long irons because long irons are too difficult and apparently these are really easy to hit. But unfortunately, you've really struggled with this, haven't you? So in today's video, I'm going to teach you how you're going to hit your hybrids great every time, because everyone says they're a cross between an iron and a wood, but how do you use them? Badly. I think it's probably how most people describe it. They've put this in the bag, because like I said in the introduction, apparently these are really easy to hit. But once they've put the hybrids in the bag, they top it, they thin it, they fat it. Very occasionally they get that good one in the air, but find it incredibly difficult to repeat. So I understand the theory why most people put hybrid in the bag. That people say long irons, not really lofted enough nowadays, and most people don't generate enough speed to get the long iron in the air. And therefore the design of the hybrid head, being a bit deeper, is going to add a bit of loft, help you get the ball in the air. But it won't help you get the golf ball in the air if you deliver the club poorly or at best inconsistently. So what I like to see is golfers stand up, be really sure in their mind as to what they're working on, and have a good swing thought that allows them to get a solid strike on the ball, get the ball up in the air, a decent height, and then get them the carry and the total that they deserve from their club head speed. Now, obviously one of the big things for these is that little bit more forgiveness, and like I said, the way the head's designed is to get the ball up in the air, but also give you enough height so that when the ball lands, it doesn't roll 50, 60 yards. But like I said, I think the dilemma comes in is the hybrid is a cross between an iron and a wood. So lots of people talk about with irons that they want to hit down on the ball, and yet with woods, they want to feel that they sweep it away. So where would that leave you with this club? Well, I'll tell you where it leaves you in a lot of trouble. Because with every single shot when the ball's on the ground, the club should be traveling down. But unfortunately, because it plays a bit more like a wood, a lot of golfers end up, at best, the club traveling level with the ground, or probably even traveling up, which creates the top, the thin, or potentially if they catch the ground, the fat. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we get the lowest point of our swing ahead of the golf ball. With hybrids, with fairway woods, with irons. But today's video, predominantly about hybrids. So, if you haven't watched one of my videos before, what is low point? And if you have, I'm sure you might enjoy just re-listening to this. So when you look at the golf swing face on, that club head's moving in a circular motion around the body. So on the way back, it moves up. On the way down, it moves down, finds its lowest point, and then travels back up. But with most golfers, when they get into hybrids and fairway woods, they start getting that low point behind, almost trying to pick the ball, sweep the ball off the floor, but it's a recipe for disaster. Get away with it on a tee or a fluffy lie, but when the ball's sat on a tight fairway, you're just not going to consistently hit good shots. So the first mistake I see golfers make is that they start putting the ball too far forward in the stance. So a lot of golfers get it kind of opposite the armpit, maybe just inside that left heel, because that's what they've been told. But the problem there is, if when you swing, you're somebody who doesn't really get onto that left side because you're trying to get the ball in the air, your low point's going to be behind. And even if you get one up in the air and going, we can see 2.5 inches behind. I caught the ground at that point. The strike's out the toe, and it's not horrendous by any means at 192 and 214. But certainly that, I'm not going to get that result very often if I deliver the club like that. So the first thing I would do for most golfers is say, initially play the ball a little bit more central in the stance. Simply because when I watch golfers, even with short irons, they don't really get the low point a long way ahead. So if you keep moving that ball forward, straight away you're going to make it difficult to hit the middle of the club face, higher up the face where there's a bit more loft, and get the kind of shots that you deserve. So let's play one a bit more central in the stance to begin with. Now that one turning over a little bit, but we see low point 2.6 inches ahead. Club's travelled down 3 degrees. Height was a little flatter there for me at 74 feet. and the carry at 220 and rolling out 239. So for me personally there, the center of the stance, the low point's too far ahead, and as the club's traveling down more, it's taking loft off and just flattening it out. So for me, I would want to just have that ball slightly forward of center. And there is no perfect for everybody. This is where you need to be willing to kind of experiment a little bit and kind of try in the middle, try a little bit further forward and see what kind of consistency with strike and trajectory you get. But once you find that ideal ball position, you'll start seeing better strikes, a little bit more height on the shot, and as a result of that, the carry and the total will be a little bit closer together because the ball's coming in at a steeper angle and landing a little softer. Now, that might be as much as you need from the video, just playing around with ball position to help you be a little better with this. For most golfers though, it's also making sure that wherever the ball position is, they're starting that downswing correctly to make sure that low point is further ahead than it is at address. Because what I see with a lot of golfers is however they set up, so if I set up how I would, they move quite well on the way back, but as they come down, the weight stays back, and they're going to bottom out early, not that far back, but they'll find some way of getting a bit nearer the golf ball. So you need to feel that before your hands quite reach the top of the swing, you're already starting to shift down and towards the target. That will allow your weight to transfer, the body to clear out the way. And even if I do a little practice swing with that, you can see I'm suddenly touching the ground, the mat here, a couple of inches ahead of the ball. So then my low point, the deepest part of the divot on the grass, is going to be ahead of the ball. So for some of you, it might just be ball position. For a lot of you, I'm pretty sure it'll be a little bit of ball position and then really focused on starting that downswing towards the target a little bit earlier. So I'm going to set up for me where I would need my ball position to be for the 3 hybrid, and then try and be a little bit earlier with that start of the downswing. And that felt about as good as it gets. So good solid strike, low point just under an inch ahead, clubs travel down 1.4 degrees, height at 89 feet, maybe a little flatter than I would like to see, and good carry, but maybe just running out a little bit more than I would like. So if I felt that move for me was nice and aggressive and the strike was good, maybe just that ball position fractionally further forward. And again, I'm treating this very much like every other club when the ball's on the ground. It's just the ball position moving forward with the clubs getting longer means the low point's less ahead, the club's still traveling down, but less so. So when golfers talk about sweeping the ball away, they don't really mean sweeping it. They mean the club just moving down a very small amount so that you get that ball and then ground contact. So let's go one more, slightly further forward. Focus on moving early. So maybe felt just a tiny bit towards the toe. And we can see there on TrackMan it was. Low point was slightly less ahead though. Clubs travelled down 1 degree, little bit higher flight at 103 feet, carry at 227 and total at 243. So I'm not saying that the distances I'm hitting the ball are relevant to you, but if you've put hybrid in the bag to replace those long irons, and this is a 3 hybrid, so would be replacing 3 iron for a lot of golfers, you still need to get some height, some carry on the shots. But it becomes confusing when golfers start talking about it's a cross between an iron and a wood, when they probably deliver the woods wrong as well. So make sure that you can get that low point ahead initially by playing around with ball position. Probably too far forward if you're struggling, so be a bit more central, see how that feels, and then maybe gradually move closer towards that front foot. But then really make sure you start that downswing early. And finally, the hybrid that you put in the bag, hopefully not years ago, will start doing exactly what you paid good money for.